The United States has been on a project now for more than 20 years of projecting American influence and American culture abroad. Now, some of this is done through the government, through official government agencies. And I note that just about 30 days before the fall of Kabul, the US Embassy in Kabul was flying a rainbow flag, as if to say it was shoving in the face of the Afghans, hey, we America represent the triumph of gay rights around the world. And by the way, this is not just something we're doing in Afghanistan, in countries where we have had direct influence, but we're pushing it worldwide. We see on Twitter, there's a woman from Nigeria who's constantly complaining that the US government is pushing promiscuity, sex education, and abortion in African cultures. And these African cultures don't want it. They're traditional. And so she says, there's nothing we can do about it. I think this is important because, in a sense, the radical Muslims, I think, are reacting against the face of America that they see. Now, this is not the face of America itself. In America, we have two cultures. We have a leftist, progressive, woke, radical culture, and we have a more traditional, patriotic, Christian-influenced or Judeo-Christian culture. But which is the culture that you think people see in Cairo or Damascus or Mumbai? I remember many years ago, my mom sitting in her living room in Mumbai, she would watch, turn on the TV, and there she'd see these American movies, and she'd say things like, these Americans are so disgusting. And what she meant is not America, but Hollywood. Because this is America's face to the world. It's the face of a culture without honor, a culture without shame, a culture that appears to want every young woman to be sexually active, that not only condones, but sort of promotes adultery, promiscuity, homosexuality. All of this is presented to the world as not just the face of liberation, but the face of America. Now, my point is that when the radical Muslims complain about America being the great Satan, yes, they are talking about American occupation. Yes, they're talking about American allies, people like the Saudi Arabian regime, which are hypocritical. These are guys who pretend to be pious Muslims, but of course, pretty soon they're going to casinos in Vegas. So that's part of it. But the other part of it is they're talking about the fact that you have a cultural imperialism being imposed by the left. It's so funny. The left keeps talking about, let's not do any cultural appropriation and so on. But the left is fully content to shove its values down the throats of people. Let's remember, most people in the world are very traditional. These are cultures, by and large, in Asia, in Africa, in the Middle East. They're patriarchal. They value, even if they don't always practice, sexual modesty. Homosexuality, for the most part, is in the closet. And what they see from American culture are these practices not only presented, not only portrayed, but normalized and celebrated. Let's remember that when we think of Satan in the Abrahamic tradition, which is not just the Jewish and Christian, but also the Islamic tradition, Satan is not really a conqueror. Satan is a sly tempter. And if you look at bin Laden's, read his open letter to America dated, I believe, 2002, he talks about the flagrant immodesty of America. He talks about the fact that America is seducing the world into a way of life that the world, the traditional world, and certainly the Islamic world, does not want. I think this is part of the reason why we didn't win hearts and minds in Afghanistan, why we haven't actually won hearts and minds in most of the world. Anti-Americanism in traditional cultures is fueled by revulsion and disgust, not against American culture, not against the American way of life, but against the liberal way of life. And so this battle that other people are fighting around the world, we are also fighting here in America. Liberal culture is a menace, not just to them, but also to us.